And they all said that we were going to be 6-6 and 7-5. 6-6 and 7-5 turned into 12-1. Big Ten champions, number 2 in the college football playoff. We're actually going to the college football playoff. Wow. And I'm typically not a guy to be mean, but I said from the beginning of the year it would shock me if we went 7-5, 6-6. Like I know that we're not supposed to be good. I didn't think that we were going to be this great team. I didn't think we'd be anything close to this. I thought there was a chance we could get maybe 11 wins, but nothing like this. And so to every joker that thought that we were going to have a losing season, did you even do your homework? Like, people were saying that Cade was going to be a terrible QB and that this defense would stink again. And, I mean, they basically, in a certain sense, did exactly what I did to Michigan State. So, take that, pour it in your glass, and sip on it. Michigan is going to the playoff. We're going to the playoff. And at this point, everything's been checked off the checkboard. Or off the clipboard. What a gaffe by me. Anyway, everything's been checked off the clipboard. 12-1 Big Ten champion. I mean, listen, Jim Harbaugh at this very moment is our guy. He is period amen. He finally beat Ohio State. He won the Big Ten, both games in dominant fashion. They were not flukes by any means. This team is not his most talented team. I'd say you could argue that there are 3, possibly 4 more teams who've had more star talent than this team, and we're here. We're here. So thank you to the coaching staff, Harbaugh, the team, everyone. We're here. And today I'm going to talk about, the Iowa game. I'm not going to get too in-depth on it because a lot of you, know what happened in that game. I want to get more in-depth of this season, reviewing this season. So we're going to have, 3 main points talking about this game, Iowa versus Michigan. We're going to be also talking about the season, and we're going to talk a little bit about the playoff picture at the end of this video. A little bit. So if there's any Georgia or Alabama fans on here, stay tuned for the last part of this video because I want to get into that a little bit. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe, hit that notification bell, comment your thoughts down below. Let's dive into this. Michigan against Iowa from the beginning came out swinging fists. We punted on the first drive. Iowa got down in the red zone. It looked like that they were going to come out, get a 7-point lead, and try and sit on it. It was anything but. You're an Iowa fan watching this. Your kicker is good. It had to have been nerves that he missed it. He had to have been nervous. And coming right out of the locker rooms, you looked at Iowa, they stood there emotionless coming on the field as if they knew they were going to lose by 4 touchdowns. And Michigan came out all pumped up, all excited, and you could see it in the first 2 touchdowns. Donovan Edwards with a 75-yard TD pass, Corum with that 67-yard touchdown run. 2 drives for touchdowns combined was 2 minutes and 7 seconds. That's explosiveness. I don't care if it was trick plays or a busted coverage. It's explosiveness against one of the better defenses in the country. Honestly. I mean, again, no team has scored more than, I think, 30 over Iowa since 2018. I don't know the last time. Someone tell me in the comments below, when was the last time a team scored 42 points on Iowa? Granted, Michigan did, I would say at least one of those touchdowns was definitely running up the score. Nonetheless, it's still there. Just like J.J. McCarthy's pick at the end of the half. It's there. It counts. It just does. And Cade, that one pick was kind of his fault, kind of the receiver's fault. He went 16 of 24, standard, completing 2 out of 3 passes, standard a little under 200 yards, and a touchdown on top. He had a good game. JJ made some plays, and, we outgained Iowa 461 yards to 279. We had 2 turnovers, but we picked off them as well. This is another game where Michigan's opponent has led slightly in TOP, and we dominated them. Ohio State did, Iowa did. Michigan, 21 first downs to Iowa's 17. Michigan 4 of 10 on, 40% on third downs. Iowa, just over 25%. Iowa, not even 5 yards per pass. Michigan, 6.2 yards per rush. Michigan, on average, when they ran, got more yards than when Iowa passed. Iowa fans, you're listening to this? This game is proof positive Brian Ferentz should be fired. He should be fired. You have a quarterback with a shoulder. You have a quarterback with an arm. A quarterback of just 4-star talent who's coached properly. Guess what? You make this game competitive heading into the 4th. I don't know if your defense survives the 4th because they were getting tired by the middle of the 3rd and you could see it. But still, you need a quarterback. You have a quarterback with Phil Parker's defense. You're deadly. You are deadly, chaotic, a causer of chaos, a hectic team if you have a good quarterback. And, Petrus, 9 of 22, Padilla, 10 of 15 and a pick. It was just something else. And, Michigan, Corum, you had 74 rushing yards and a touchdown, 14.8 yards per rush. Haskins with a 56 rushing yards, 3.3 yards per carry and 2 TDs. Henning had a 29-yard end around. McCarthy had 23 rushing yards. Johnson had 17. McNamara, we had a designed QB draw that was beautifully executed. And that was the perfect call. I watched that, and I immediately thought, where was this guy? Where was Josh Gaddis the past 2 years? Because he's calling amazing plays, and he's been calling good plays all year, and he's been getting better as the year progresses. It's amazing. No one expects McNamara to run. No one. He only runs when there's a big hole. He takes the ball, immediately goes up the middle, and there's no one there. No one. None. No one. Beautiful play. The pass from Edwards, those were what I would say were the play calls of the game. Same with the McCarthy read options. They got everyone. Everyone thought Haskins had the ball. Nope. It's McCarthy. McCarthy manipulates opposing defenses on those read options and on those plays. It's amazing. So this game, Michigan proved that they're the number 2 team in the country. Jim Harbaugh proved me wrong. I did not think that he was a good coach or a great coach. He's proven that he's a good to great coach. A good to great coach wins the Big Ten and gets 12 wins. That is not an average coach, especially with the fact we don't have a Joe Burrow 2019 LSU a semblance of talent. We don't. This team is well coached, well and disciplined, and they're just together. And that leads into the next part. The next part, the season takeaways. This team, listen, they're tough, they're gritty, they never give up. People, Georgia fans, SEC fans watching this, your biggest mistake is giving Michigan no chance against Georgia. And we'll get to this game later, but think about it. Alabama was given next to no shot against Georgia. And I know that Michigan, Georgia matches up a lot better because they have a good run defense. And, Michigan relies on the run. But again, we beat Wisconsin. Georgia's basically Wisconsin with 5 stars. Their quarterback is inept compared to the rest of their team. Their coverage is overrated. That's Wisconsin with 5 stars. That is what Georgia is. And the SEC East is a lot weaker than the West. Vice versa, with the West of the Big Ten is a lot weaker than the East of the Big Ten. So, giving this team no chance, and this ties in with my last point, which we'll get to later with providing examples, is the worst thing you can do, because this team is gritty. They refuse to die. Nebraska and Penn State are perfect examples. Penn State and Nebraska had all the momentum, and they both failed to beat us. They failed. McNamara made a play, or Corum or Haskins made plays, or the defense did to clutch up. Someone made plays. Someone. And team just doesn't give up. The team. That saying, this team is that saying. This team is the team. Michigan football is also peaking at the right time. And here's an example of that. We struggle to score against Washington, who's a bad football team. They're 4-8. We beat Western 47-14. They're 7-5. NIU was actually one of our better earlier season wins as their MAC champions. Anyway, case in point, we had moments against Washington and Western. And scoring 31 against Washington, they're one of the better defenses. That's pretty good. And then you scroll down, and we score 42 on OSU, which I think is the most they've allowed all year. It's the most points they've allowed since in the regular season, it's the most points they've allowed since the Purdue game in 2018. And I'd say that this team might be better than the 2018 team. I don't know. Can't really have side-by-side comparison, but both are going to the Rose Bowl. Anyway, Michigan's improving on the offensive side of the ball. We have not kicked a single field goal since Maryland, and that was because of a penalty. That was not because of, poor play calling, porous execution outside of that one penalty. And if you exclude the Maryland game, we haven't scored a field goal or kicked one since Indiana. Yet Jake Moody is one of the top guys in kicking field goals. The red zone production is shooting way up. It's shooting up like Bitcoin does in a bubble. That's how Michigan's red zone offense is improving. More creativity, more juice, more red zone efficiency. This offense is, I think, 5th in total efficiency, according to ESPN. That's, I think, one of the best. It's like the best or most efficient Michigan offense, I think, in the Harbaugh era, according to ESPN. And not only that, but the defense. Hutchinson and Ojabo have been getting more sacks in the later part of the season, like against Michigan State, against Penn State, against Ohio State, who definitely have better offensive lines than Western, Washington, NIU, and Rutgers. You heard that right. Team keeps improving. Linebackers are getting better, making more tackles, missing less, making more plays. The line, run block. Kenneth Walker, Mel Tucker, I hate to say this, but thank you for beating us, because now we run block. We plug the gaps. We tackle people for loss. We intimidate and scare good running backs like Tyler Goodson and Trevion Henderson. Thank you. This adaptation, we're peaking, and this all ties in with the championship level coaching staff that we have. Mike McDonald is good. He is far better, far superior than Don Brown. He adapts. He calls blitzes when we need to. And against Iowa, listen, he mixed in coverages, did all different kinds of things. Yes, there were moments where Iowa, fooled us with the play action. But here's an example. In the second half, in the first half, they would do PA rollouts. We'd fall for it. There'd always be a wide open tight end around the line of scrimmage. They'd get a first down. Second half, they do a PA rollout. A linebacker is in Petrus's face, and he basically has to make a risky throw or throw it away. And they tried it, and there was always a linebacker there. We did not fall for it. We adapted. Don Brown would never have done that. Don Brown doesn't adapt. He throws the same thing at you over and over again. With Don Brown as our DC, we probably would have allowed a touchdown or two more. Instead, we held Iowa to 3 points. Against Ohio State, Don Brown would have allowed like 50. But Mike McDonald forced Ohio State to work for every yard. He put Ohio State in a position that Ohio State can't work in. Ohio State, great offense. They can't go on long drives. They get too impatient. They thrive off of big plays like most explosive offenses do. And sometimes those, big plays, if you take them away from explosive offenses, they might stutter a little bit. If you make them work. And that's just the defense. And Steve Clinkscale, one of the best secondary coaches in the country, is also here. He's doing an amazing job. Like our secondary that stunk last year is good and one of the better ones in the country now. In the offense, Josh Gaddis again with the amazing play calling. The trick plays, the flea flickers, the pass from Donovan Edwards, which I've never seen before. Oh wait, Cade McNamara can now run up the middle and gain 15 yards because defenses think that he can't run. The calling the options with JJ, it's genius. This is good stuff. This is stuff that we have needed for so long. And it's finally bearing fruit. Finally. So I'm pleased with the staff. The staff is championship level. Do not convince me that, we have no shot in the playoffs. We absolutely do. But again, we'll get to this later. And going to what about JJ and Cade, this 2 QB system, I'm going to touch on this just for a few seconds. It works perfectly. You put in JJ and you think he's going to make a big play and he just makes a simple run or a simple pass. They normally, they don't always let JJ pass deep in the beginning of the game. But you think JJ's going to make the big play. Turn around, they put Cade back in and they think it's going to be a run or something. And Cade throws a beautifully executed, let's just say, flea flicker. It confuses defenses, making them have to think about who's going to make more explosive plays. McCarthy being the more explosive guy, Cade being the more system guy, but then Gaddis and Harbaugh and, Moore, the guys who have the most impact, I would say, on the offense, just, giving them different kinds of responsibilities, different kinds of plays to keep it diverse and not vanilla, confuses defenses, and I love it. And finally, Jim Harbaugh has thrived as an underdog. We go into Wisconsin, underdog, win, and not just win by 21 points. We go into Nebraska, we're doubted, and we only win by 3. But we came back and won when no one thought, including myself, thought we would come back. We travel to Penn State after Michigan State humiliated us. The first road game after the Michigan State game and the last true test before Ohio State. We're down. No one thought we had a shot. And we won. Ohio State is the ultimate one. Ohio State, the line, everyone was betting OSU. Everyone was. And in the end, who cares? Michigan shuts down Ohio State long enough, puts up enough points, puts together a game plan, and wins. The underdog, Michigan thrives when they are the underdog. And speaking of that, this is a situation where Michigan is currently the underdog. And I'm not going to talk about this too much. There's not a whole point because there's, a month before this happens. And I'm probably going to be making this like in the next week or two. I'm not saying there's no point in making it now, but there's still a lot. Like, who knows if George Pickens is going to become a bigger part of Georgia's offense, for example. You saw him once against Bama where he made a good play. Michigan, I don't know. There's just, these teams are taking a break at the moment. And it's going to be a while before, they meet up. It's going to be like January 1st, I think. I don't know. But it's the Orange Bowl. It's Miami, Florida. And this is for all the marbles. And Michigan is finally in a position to do something. They're number 2. Georgia's number 3. But everyone knows, and even the eye test kind of says that Georgia is the better team. But as a Michigan fan, watching these two teams, Georgia does not have the same strength of schedule Michigan does. They have not played in Ohio State. Actually, they did play in Ohio State. Alabama is basically Ohio State. They don't have as good of an O-line. They don't have as good of a running game. They just don't. Georgia played Ohio State with a better head coach, but with, I would argue, an inferior O-line, probably an inferior D-line as well. They lost. They lost by 17. That was a disgusting game to watch. Georgia, I don't even know what to tell you. I mean, Bennett, people think that Bennett is worse than JT Daniels. And there's a reason JT is being benched. I mean, either he's injured or Bennett is somehow better. But Georgia has some issues too, much like with Michigan. Michigan is not an does not have an elite passing attack. And Michigan, it relies heavily on the run game, which plays to Georgia's defensive strengths. But this is an interesting matchup, and I'm excited. And Harbaugh, just to kind of end this video on a positive note, as I don't have much more to talk about, Harbaugh has fulfilled everything I've asked him to do. In my mind, his job should be safe. Completely safe. He should be praised for what he's done thus far. Because it's amazing. Second 12-win season in Michigan history. The only other one being the year we won the national title. And if he wins this game, oh my goodness, that changes the narrative even more. Changes the narrative even more. Unreal. Unbelievable. Like, absolutely unbelievable. I can't wait for the Orange Bowl. And listen, Georgia's going to have to deal with pressure. I mean, Alabama brought pressure to them. Michigan is amazing at bringing pressure. Michigan has, a good secondary, good linebackers, good defensive line. We can stop the run, much like Alabama did against them. And Michigan, we have a better run game and a better O-line than Alabama does. We don't have the same wide receivers or quarterback by any means. I'm not going to stretch that. But we've made some plays in the passing department. So don't think, you're a Georgia fan here, the last thing you want your team to think is that Michigan has no chance. That won't end well. If your team thinks that Michigan has no chance, it's going to be a very ugly end to a Kirby Smart team that, in all honesty, had the resources to go 15-0 in dominant fashion. David Ojabo, Aiden Hutchinson, they should be all Americans. No doubt about it. Hassan Haskins could also be up for that conversation. He's not fancy. He's an old school power running back that falls forward for an extra yard or two. Always does extra. And, the play calling and just, I'm so happy with this season. I could not be happier. I couldn't be, because I didn't expect this. I didn't expect us to beat Ohio State. I didn't expect us to win in Indy in dominant fashion. And here we are. Sunday afternoon, Michigan is in the playoff, and I can't wait. Thank you all for watching. And like this video, help me get to 3,000 subs. I'm going to be doing a giveaway around then. Let's get to 3,000 by the new year. Big goal, but we can do it. We got this. Let's hit that 3,000 sub mark by the new year. I'm going to be previewing bowl games and talking about recruiting this December a lot more than I have been, because, there's only bowl games to preview. There's going to be a lot of them, but I'm going to enjoy doing it with all of you guys. So just comment your thoughts down below, like this video, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys around.